All right, what's up, everyone? Welcome to my channel. This video is about how UBI will cause genocide and a new type of genocide. How will UBI cause genocide? Well, this might come as a surprise to the supporters of UBI, but if we were to have UBI, it would be funded by the people. It would be government funded, which means it would be taken from the people through taxes. When you're taking money from people so that you can give it to others so that they can have enough money for rent and for food and other basic necessities, especially in a time when we're in inflation and prices don't ever seem like they're going to come down, that is going to take a huge chunk out of people's income for the people that will work. And then you have to consider other factors like multiple people living under one roof. So with UBI, society is going to become everybody gets a piece of the pie, where instead of being individualistic, you go out, you make your own earning and you choose how to spend it minus taxes. Then everyone is going to be entitled to everyone's money. And when there are limited resources, limited money, then that's going to bring into question, well, who really deserves this money the most? And that's going to create a moral dilemma, at least for people who don't have God in their lives. They're going to look at old people and start to question their worth, their value of life. Because you could ask, well, should they be entitled to get $1,000, $2,000 or more when, who knows, they only have a year left, maybe a little bit more, maybe less. So that's going to create a new debate on life, because we're already living in an era where there's a debate on when life starts and if it's moral to take that life. Then we're going to move to, well, when does life quote unquote end? Or when is it moral to end somebody's life to benefit society? But in this case, it's not because they did something criminal or because they're a threat to society. It's because they want to alter the definition of life. So let's say you have an elderly person who can't really do much, can barely walk around, but they're receiving $2,000 a month in UBI. Then someone could argue, well, this family down the street that's struggling to provide for their kids, that wants to put their kids in college, but they can't, we could take the money we're giving to that elderly person and give it to them, right? But that elderly person still needs that money for their life. So then they could say, well, their life, even though they still have a heartbeat, even though they still have a mind and they're conscious, well, technically, are they really living if they can barely even do anything? And we already have a thing called assisted dying, euthanasia, where if a person decides, they're elderly, they don't enjoy life as much anymore, and they feel like they're a burden to their family and to society, then they may as well just take their life. And it's considered healthcare. They actually made a movie about this in Japan. It's called Plan 175, where they basically killed off all the elderly population because of rising costs and the burden, the quote unquote burden that it was placing on society. So you can look into that. And it's particularly interesting because Japan is the oldest country in terms of their population. 1/4 of their population is above 65. And we know how a lot of times these movies set in the future end up happening in real life. And it's inevitable if society is moving towards improving the quality of life, then we are going to get to a point when there are substantially more old people than we've ever had before. And we're already seeing parts of this play out in reality right now. We're already having debates on when life begins, and some people even say that you can terminate a pregnancy right before the baby's about to be born. So if you can take that life away and rob that person of living their life, then who's to say that there wouldn't be a mandate that says once you reach the age of 65 or whatever age, then we have to do assisted dying for the better of society. And this is actually something that's been practiced in cultures. It's called genocide, where they would kill off the older people because they viewed them as a burden to society, or for one reason or another. Because if you're going to be sharing money, right, then people are going to say, well, it's only fair if they get to use that money how they want or what will better their family. So you could argue like there will be hundreds of families and even single parents who will say, well, why can't my little Johnny go to college, go to this college that we really want him to go to, that's going to help him put him on his career path? Why can't my little Johnny play soccer or get this scholarship? But if we took away the funding of the older people in society, then my little Johnny could afford college, right? But the only way you could do that is if the older people are no longer in society. So the meaning of life is going to become narrower and narrower. The government is going to be able to dictate and determine who gets to live and who doesn't. And you could even expand that to other groups of people, whether that's based on race or ethnicity or gender or what have you. Because there are reports even present day that say certain groups, they face more oppression, and because of that they have a lower mental health, a lower quality of life, etc., etc. So in the future, if UBI becomes a thing, right, and everyone wants a piece of the pie, then they could argue, well, if this group says that living is so oppressive and so difficult and miserable for them, then should they even be here? Because why is all this money going towards them when we could allocate it towards people who have a higher success rate in society, right? Based on some article, some peer-reviewed article. Because we even see things like this play out right now. And going back to abortion, people argue, well, if this baby is going to be born into poverty, if they're going to be born into a single parent household or a broken family or a dysfunctional family, if they're not going to have the equal opportunities and outcomes as little Johnny down the street, then should they even come into existence at all? That's the dark reality of trying to accommodate every little thing, every little feeling. That's what happens when you abandon God. You abandon the pursuit, you abandon life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Because our rights don't come from the government, they come from God. And it states that in the Declaration of Independence. And of course, I'm curious about your thoughts and opinions on this matter. If you agree, if you see the same trajectory or a different trajectory, be sure to leave your comments below. So that's what I got for this video. If you like this content and want to see more, be sure to hit that like button and that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video.